Hi, I am Ben Alexander and I have autism. And I apologize for my sprain allergies if I sound like a little sick. That's why, or not sprain, fall. I'm recording this in September, of 2024. And yeah, definitely the ragweed and Ohio. I live in Ohio. It hasn't rained for a while. That might have contributed to as well. So yeah, I'm going through allergies right now, and I would really appreciate if you could please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up like button, and turn on your YouTube notifications so you don't miss any of my video. And today we're going to be talking about pathological demand avoidance. So I recently came across this word when I was coming up with a plan of what I wanted to make this channel about, and one of the things came up was pathological demand avoidance was a topic that could definitely relate to autistic people. And let me explain the Google definition of pathological demand avoidance, and is exactly as it follows. Pathological demand avoidance, PDA, is a pattern of behavior in which kids go to extremes to ignore or avoid anything they perceive as a demand. And pathological demand avoidance, PDA, is most often seen in people with autism. And this is not only in children, but it is with adults as well. I wanted to make that super clear as well. And honestly, as an autistic person, I think that's true. I think it doesn't matter where you are in life. I feel like everybody does this at some point, because let's be honest, if we do not like to do something, we will avoid it till we can't no longer. That's just human nature. And yeah, when things feel demanding and all that stuff, and people are more strict. And I mean, sometimes that does have a purpose in strictness and demanding more out of you. It's very necessary, because if you're having a problem and you're continuing to avoid it, you might need to get stricter about it. You might need to push yourself harder. That's just how it works. And of course, the goal is to have everybody's best intentions. People can easily take advantage of this and end up putting unnecessary demands and unnecessary strictness just to make everybody's life miserable around them. I don't agree with that at all. But yeah, and I mean, think about authority figures, like the police and, all those people that are in office, even school teachers. They'll make rules that you don't like or agree with, and you break the rules. Well, there's consequences, and that's just how the world works. Because authority does not like to be pushed around, and that's why I live by a principle that says respect authority no matter what. Even if it's hard, do it. If you find yourself in a very dangerous situation, then that's another demand. That's another thing, and I think you should be able to go to the next person with more authority and report it and make it well known to everybody that this person's bullying and abusing me. And again, I don't agree with bullying and abusing, but if it really isn't a big deal and they're asking you to do something that doesn't contribute to bullying and abusive, like it's a very simple task that they want you to do and you're not doing it, then yes, of course there are consequences for your actions. It depends on the person and what type of consequence they're going to put on you, but it's obviously not going to be good, so I would avoid it at all costs. If you make authority mad, they will punish you. That's how it works. And again, I didn't create the world. That's just how the world exists. That's how it functions. And I think a lot of us know that. So, yeah. I really can confirm the pathological demand avoidance. Like, for example, in high school, I remember my freshman year, they had flyers out in the high school. It said, we need a manager for the basketball team, which, if you don't know what a manager is, it's basically people that run behind the scenes. Like, I helped a lot of practices, filming games. And really, if I didn't do that, I'd have not found Mount Vernon, which led me into a paid gig at college. I was able to make money filming sports at college. If I didn't have a high school managering position, I'd have never known that that would have existed. So yeah, and I mean, and I felt very comfortable. And even after college, Mount Vernon, WNZR still wanted me back to help some games. So yeah, I definitely think that's been good too. Yeah, I mean, and also it's led me to other opportunities. And the football team, I was a manager for the football team, which basically was filming practices. And then for the baseball team, I was filming off an iPad. And I was a JV manager for Mount Vernon's basketball team for 1 year in college, my freshman year. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. That's how they wanted to do things, and it moved from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and it really worked out in my favor. So, because again, I did not want to do this because I was nervous and I felt very uncomfortable making new friends in high school, right? Because this was the beginning of high school. I didn't like making new friends can be very terrifying for me, so I try to avoid it as much as I possibly can. But there comes the point where it's like, this could actually help your future. And I'm glad my parents and my teachers pushed me to do that because it really helped me out in the long run. So sometimes you just have to trust authority figures that, because they can actually help you, believe it or not, if they are using their authority correctly. And again, that's kind of my thing, is that drives me nuts about this world is people that use their authority to just be mean and not build them up but tear them down. I can't really stand that. So yeah, definitely. And I'm not the only one. I'm sure everybody believes that as well. So needless to say, it is our human nature to avoid things that make us comfortable. And really, when I read that definition and when I was trying to understand what pathological demand avoidance is, it honestly, it's like anything else. It's like, and as an autistic person, it's like, I literally can relate to everybody else, because we don't like to do things that are difficult for us. Nobody does. It's part of humanity. And I think that's really cool that I'm able to just figure out life together and with other humans. That's the purpose, and we're no different than each other, and that's honestly the coolest part about this as well. And as we figure out life together, we need to figure out ways to treat the problem at the root. And I found some symptoms of PDA in adults from Google, and it says this: some common symptoms of PDA in adults include difficulty following directions or complying with requests, avoiding social interactions or events, feeling overwhelmed by changes in routine or unexpected events. And that's fair. You know, I went earlier about authorities and all that stuff. I've seen lots of videos on the internet, through social media and YouTube, of people not really complying with the authorities, and then it's just not a comfortable scene to watch because, yeah, it doesn't make anybody very happy to see that that's happening. So, and it's so sad because it reminds how broken humanity is, and you know, we've lost trust in everybody. And you look at the world the way it is, it's like, man, who do you trust anymore? And like I said, I come on here and try to be the most trustworthy person I possibly can. I'm going to tell you straight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to be authentic Ben Alexander. And that's kind of what I want to do. And sometimes people are not that way. They put on a persona that's a completely different person. But I am trying my best to showcase that I am no different than everybody else. Yes, I have autism, but I have lots of abilities, and like anybody else, we have strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's important about it too. And one thing I do not like is mess and drama. Bro, I am not a drama queen at all. Do not like drama. And I'm sure a lot of people don't either. Maybe it's fun to watch on TV, but I don't watch drama on TV either. I watch sports. That's the only thing I watch on TV is sports. So, but, it's all right. And the second one that they mentioned was avoiding social interactions or events. And for sure, some people would straight ignore a person, and I think that's very unfortunate. Like, you need to be able to be honest with that person and be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. Can we try something else, or can we do it on another day? Try to compromise and work together, because again, as a humanity, we need to be working together instead of against each other. And sometimes you're tired and you might turn down like eating dinner with family or friends, or going out to the movies, or whatever you guys like to do in your free time. That's fun, that your friends and family would want to do. And yeah, and I think the latter isn't a bad option if done in moderation. Because obviously you don't want to completely isolate yourself from all social interaction. One, it's impossible. Two, I think you need to be around people to, not, I don't know. I mean, you just gotta be around people. There's just something about being around another person, because they can help you in your lowest times. And, sometimes people can get on my nerves and your nerves as well. I'm sure you can think of many people that get on your nerves as well. But I think as a humanity, we just got to try to work together and, find people that want to work together and want to build something better. And people are striving for the same goals you are, and people who want to make the best out of life as you possibly can. Those are the type of people you want to find. And if you can't find people, well, I pray that you can find those people, because I've definitely have close friends, and they've really helped me a lot through all my struggles in life. And again, friends are the most important part of your development. Family's important, and spirituality and your religion, and all those things are important too. But and your value systems and beliefs as well. But I believe having friends can help you, one, grow you, two, do fun things together, and hopefully we can just be willing to find a person that trust. And it's hard. Like, I struggle with it too, and I definitely want to be in that position where I want to avoid social interactions or events. But at some point, I just want to meet people, and I want to help make a difference in this world, because again, we are all broken, and I want to do something about it, this broken world, that I can help others. I want to do my part, and that's really my goal. And the last one is about changing routine. I do not like changing my routine. I actually despise it and hate it. It's one of the things I do not like. And you get used to a routine that you like, or at least be like, hey, this isn't bad. And then all of a sudden, your routine gets snapped, and you get angry. Well, internal rage for me. I get internal rage. I don't really show it. Now, maybe my faces have an annoyance factor on it, but I'm not going to go and yell at somebody. That's just not my nature. I don't like yelling at people, because one, it's very rare that I do it, and I feel ashamed every time I do, because that's just not how you deal with people. You need to be able to deal with them in a professional manner, and yelling at somebody is not very professional. in my opinion. I guess in some aspects, emotions can take over, and if it's meaning love, that could be another name of yelling. But I've never enjoyed being yelled at or yelling at other people. That's just something that I never want to do. But sometimes you're in situations that you have to, I guess. But for the most part, like 95% of the time, you should not be yelling at a person. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm not trying to make anybody mad or make you feel bad that you've yelled at people. Because again, it happens. We're all human. And it can be in self-defense, and it could be used to build that person up too, which it seems kind of crazy, but I mean, honestly, if they're not taking you seriously, and you try asking them nicely, then it's like, yeah, I feel like I can understand why you yell at a person at that point. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but at the end of the day, do not get angry in your yelling. Make sure it's building up instead of tearing down. Like I've been saying the whole entire video, is the whole purpose of a professional attitude is really just treating everybody how you treat it. The golden rule. That was one of the things my parents taught me from a young age, is the golden rule. And I'm thankful for them to teach that. Treat others the way you want to be treated. I can remember it without even looking at notes, because it's been drilled into me as a kid, and I'm glad it has, because that's exactly how everybody should act towards each other. And I would say the golden rule is in line with a professional attitude. You know, being a professional at all times, doing the right thing, that's a professional attitude. And you know, a professional attitude builds people up instead of builds them up instead of tears them down. And again, I hope that you took something out of this. I hope you learned more about pathological demand avoidance. And I know it's kind of a word that nobody uses, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of something that might be a little bit different from what you would normally see. So if you liked it, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you on my next upload.